Hey guys, 29 Marine here with some story time. I have no idea what made me remember this story, but I figured you guys should know it because it's fucking hilarious. We so when I was in Barwana in Iraq, we had our hooches, which is like our tents, set up. And you have like the HESCO barriers, which are like the mesh things that they kind of fill with sand, and around those. And then outside that, you had your berm for the edge of the actual, call it combat outpost, and we didn't have like porta potties or anything, because I mean, who's gonna come out and fucking clean them? So we had shitters, but then underneath it, you have like the metal, like 55-gallon drum that's cut in half, and you basically shit into that, and somebody has to clean those, which involves burning them. Like if you've seen Jarhead with Jake Gyllenhaal, that's when he's burning the shit there. That's exactly what we had to do, and but then they also had call them piss tubes, which are basically big PVC pipe that somebody had taken like a backhoe or something, dug out a big hole, stuck this PVC pipe. The pipe is like a good 25, 30 feet long. It's pretty good. And they shoved almost all of it underground at an angle. And so you have maybe 3 or 4 feet sticking out of the ground at an angle, at about that height level, so you can go up and piss in it. And the theory is that the piss will go down and get soaked into the earth, and life is good. But Cop Barwana had been there, or not Cop Barwana, Cop Ellis is the name of it, named after a sergeant major who got killed by an IED, like right off the cop. But anyway, it had been there, an okay amount of time, a year, maybe a little over a year or so, maybe 2 years by the time I got there, and the so the piss tubes have been used a fair amount, by everyone who kind of rotated in and out of there, and got to the point where the ground, at the bottom wherever the PVC pipe was, where it ended, was so saturated with urine that it started to back up into the tube itself. And so then it ended up backing up all the way to the point where the piss was at the top of the pipe and you couldn't pee in it because it was just leaking out. It was terrible. It smelled horrible. It was just disgusting. And so our CO, realizing that this was obviously a potential hygiene issue, not even our CO, our corpsman told him, they suggested that we move them. And nobody wanted to move them. Nobody wanted to touch them. It's just nasty as fuck. But we had to do it. And so they basically ended up putting some new PVC pipe, a little bit of ways away from it, that we started using towards the tail end of our time in Barwana, and before we moved elsewhere. And we ended up getting the job that we had to pull the pipe out, and we didn't quite realize how long it was. And we basically had a bunch of guys put gloves on, and try to pull the pipe out of the ground, thinking there was just a few feet. And we ended up getting a hold of somebody who knew that they were in the ground a good 30, probably close to 30 feet down. And we're like, yeah, fuck that. We're not going to dig that out. That's stupid. And so we decided to take some pickaxes to it, break the pipe off, cover it up with dirt, and call it a day. And basically one of the guys, let's call him Bob. How's that? So Bob ended up getting stuck. He was like the second person to hit it with the pickaxe. And first person got at it, hit it a little bit, and the pipe started to crack, but it wasn't all the way done. The guy got tired because, that PVC pipe is some tough shit. And so Bob goes, and he goes to hit the pipe, and he hit it probably like 2 times. And I want to say like on the third one, and I was standing probably 10 feet away from him just watching, and on the third one, the pipe like shattered, like broke in half where he was hitting it, and all this piss from fucking however long just exploded out of this thing and fucking shot all over him, completely soaked him in urine, and he had his mouth open because he was breathing heavily because he was, working hard trying to fucking break this thing. And so he got piss. Makes me sick just remembering it. Piss in his mouth, swallowed some of it, and it was like his, on his face and his hair just everywhere. And he dropped the pickaxe and just stood there like, what the fuck just happened? Oh, it was so. I'm telling you guys, it was one of the nastiest fucking things I've ever seen. So terrible. And he just stunned, like he didn't know what to do. And like after about a minute, he starts gagging, realizing he had swallowed some of this stuff. Oh man, I'm getting weak in my old age just thinking about it. Woo. And so we all just started laughing. We thought it was the funniest fucking thing in the world. And so we're just making fun of him, just like, what the fuck? And we knew we had to get him cleaned up because that was terrible. But the showers didn't run. They only ran for like a couple hours. This was in the early afternoon. They weren't going to open up until, like 6 or 7 at night. And so I'm like, shit. And there's three or four army guys that were on the cop with us, and they ran the showers. And so I went over to their hooch, and they were in there fucking around like playing Xbox or something. And I just walked in only, and Bob was behind me, standing outside. And I was like, hey guys, can you can you get the showers going? We kind of need it open. And they're like, no man, we're not gonna open it yet. It's we still got another like 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever. And I was like, no, we need to open it right now. And they're like, dude, we're not gonna turn them on right now. It's just not gonna happen. I'm like, okay. And then I opened up the flap, and I'm like, hey Bob, come in here. And right as he walked in, like he was just emanating the smell. And they're like, and those guys just immediately start gagging. They're like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, so you're gonna turn that shit on? And they went and they fucking hauled ass out, and they turned on the showers for him, and he went and changed, and he showered for like an hour. And I know he was throwing up in there as well, because it was so terrible. So terrible. And after that, we made fun of him constantly for it. I mean, obviously it wasn't his fault, but he just had the terrible misfortune of having that happen. And I was just like, just thinking about it. It's one of the funnier stories that I have from Iraq, because so terrible. And then the corpsmen were, keeping an eye on him to see if he got sick. And I think they gave him some sort of medicine to just kind of fight off like a general infection, but I'm not sure. I didn't ask him. But yeah, let me just tell you, if you ever are in country and you have piss tubes and you have to move the piss tubes, then yeah, you need to be very careful about that. Be very careful. So gross. All right, I'm just going to sit here and keep thinking about how gross it is, so I'm going to finish the video. As always, if you guys have any questions or concerns or anything, hit me up, and I will do what I can to answer it. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you next time. Simplified.